no industry experience. And I did not know any agents. It was actually my husband who, I have to say, who initiated the career change. And then I'll talk a little bit about Mr. Stratton. So my husband kept saying to me from the time he met me, you need to be a realtor, you need to be a realtor. I'm like, what is that? My grandmother was a very celebrated sales lady in Dublin. And I named my daughter after her. She was a remarkable lady, widowed at 38 with 7 children, inner city Dublin, went on to incredible personal and financial success, selling fruit and chocolate at horse racing to, as she called them, rich Yanks. And she absolutely loved it. She did it till she was 38, till she was 89, out in all weathers. So I had that, and I love to chat to people. I love to help people. Community has always been something that's been instilled in me by my grandmother, by my father. So my husband said, I think you'd be a really, really good fit. I rallied against that for quite some time because I didn't want, Jaqueline, when I walked around Victoria, I didn't want to have my face on a garbage bin. I didn't want to have my face on a bus shelter. I have a lot of pride. The Irish people are very, very, very proud. We care deeply about how we are perceived, and respect is a huge thing for us. So I didn't really gel with the idea of a realtor. It didn't sit well with me. But in any event, I took the course because my husband was badgering me about it. Did the course, and then I thought to myself one day, now I have to hang my license. Where will I go? If I could choose the one brokerage that I would work with, who would it be? And of course, it was Sotheby's, because Sotheby's has a presence in Ireland and in the UK. It was the only name that I knew, and I didn't think that I had a hope in hell of getting in, because I hadn't sold a property at that. So I met Tom Stratton for 10 minutes. I asked him to give me 10 minutes of his time. We sat down, and after 10 minutes, Tom said to me, whichever gets you will be very, very lucky. And we didn't talk about what can Sotheby's do for me? What are you going to do for me? What am I going to do for you? We just had a human connection, just a conversation. And he invited me to join the brand. I said, how do you see me fitting in, Tom? Do you see me on a team? Do you see me as a sole agent? Do you have any ideas? And he said, if I put you on a team, you'd be kicked off in 3 months because you want to do things your way. And I thought that was hilarious. And he saw something in me. He saw something in me. It was a joke, but it was also his way of showing me that he did see a potential and he did see a fire in me, you know. So, of course, I was bowled over. I said yes. I joined the brand, and when I achieved, that was in August 2017, so it was pretty recently. And when I achieved Senior Vice President of Sales status on Monday of this week, Jaqueline, the first person I called was Tom Stratton.
Congratulations.
To thank him for seeing something in me. And he said that
he could see the leadership.
He said I never let him down, and I said that I'll always be grateful to him. He'll always be somebody that I pray for him. I pray for his family. I'm so deeply, deeply grateful to him for the opportunity that he afforded me. With his mentorship, with intensive training, of course, before I was released into the world. So there was a lot of work that went on behind the scenes in order to prepare me to serve and represent the brand. So we did quite some months work on that before I went out. But he mentored me, and he saw a lot of he saw potential in me, and I'm glad I've made him proud.
I know you have a couple special designations as part of your realtor brand. What are they?
Senior Vice President of Sales, which is it's a dream come true.
So tell me, what does that mean?
Okay. Senior Vice President of Sales is an individual who has, in their calendar year, achieved a significant number of closed deals in terms of their GCI. I won't speak to the number, but it's quite significant. And we don't do dual agency in BC. So to reach that number, it can take a lot of time. And not only is it a number, it's a person. It's a representative of the brand. It's an ambassador of the brand. It's a title for somebody who's a good representation of the brand. And it's a true honor. I don't want to start tearing up, but to represent this brand it gels with my values, gels with my personality. It gels with how I treat people. The respect that this brand affords to its clients is unparalleled and it's second to none. We show dignity. We allow our clients to have dignity. We show them respect, but we also respect ourselves. We don't put ourselves out there as an individual brand. We put ourselves out there as representatives of something that's elegant, something that's classy, and something that speaks to the utmost in integrity, Jaqueline. It's an incredible brand to be aligned with. And they'll have to drag me out kicking and screaming because I'm not going anywhere.
You have me all teary as you're talking about our brand and what it represents and as how it just makes me feel. I'm going away from this because I don't want to cry. So take me back to a time where you were showing a home and there was this particular smell that just really make you want to walk out of there. What was the smell that killed it?
The ferrets. The ferrets in the basement. Yeah. Ferrets. That was a couple months ago. Yeah. Yeah. Ferrets in cages.
I haven't walked into that, but I can only imagine.
But boy, do those little critters smell. I mean, it's a unique smell, folks.
That is what the book described. I was like, okay.
I wouldn't wish that smell on my worst enemy.
What's your favorite smell in a home?
What's my favorite smell? Oh, a good shampooed carpet. Just love it. I love to walk in and they're ever so slightly still damp. I just love that somebody has taken the time and the care, particularly when they weren't contractually obligated to do that. I closed on a deal the other day and my lady, we walked through the door. She was crying tears of happiness and joy and excitement. And the seller had the beautiful waterfront condo in Victoria. We were very fortunate to win that bid. And the seller was not contractually obligated to have the carpets shampooed, but she did. And it was just a sign of respect for her property and a sign of respect for our side of the table. And I just love that. It's something, we can have the, and I just Kat Bedbury and her candles. Kat, if you're listening, send me one, would you? Please. Oh, that was my favorite episode. No disrespect to any of your other guests, but I just absolutely adore Kat. I've had a conversation with her on the phone, and she's amazing. She's super. She's super. She and I would have had similar experiences as children, and I think we come from a similar place. I find her an inspiration, and I really am not just saying that so I can get a candle. But
tell me, how do you get a house ready for the market?
How do I get a house ready for the market? Alrighty. So when I meet with the seller, so I'd like to talk at some stage about the Ninja Selling program, which I'm a huge advocate and proponent for. So once I go through my pre-listing interview and my listing consultation with the seller, and we decide that we're a good fit for one another, I offer my interior consultant. I don't like the word stager because it sounds like I'm trying to sell something. I prefer to use interior consultant, and I offer her to come through as part of the preparation for the property at my expense. So it's part of my service. I find her services invaluable because I know my strengths and I also know where I'm not so strong. And I'm not a decorator. I'm price terms and conditions. I'm an advocate. I work tirelessly for my clients, and I keep that relationship going, and I keep them on track and ensure that everybody makes it to the closing table. But I don't know about placement of bowls. I don't know about curtains. I don't know about wall colors. It's really not my area. And so Valerie, if the client wants that service, then that's something that I offer, and I'm present for that as well, much to Valerie's chagrin, because I keep interrupting and talking. So I try to stay quiet. She warns me every time. Will you stay quiet this time, Christine? She's originally from Ukraine. Will you stay quiet this time, Christine? I say, yeah, sure, of course I will, Valerie. And I don't. But I'm very hands-on. I'm very involved, and I'm very conscious of what the client wants. So it's not me railroading them into this, and this. It's very much a collaborative process. And what I like about the interior consultation, and how I like to handle that, is after we've had the interior consultation, Valerie goes and prepares the report. So she doesn't make the recommendations on site. It depends now. If the client really wants to have the walkthrough after Valerie has done her tour, we can do that. But if the client might be a little sensitive to having somebody swoop into their home and say, you should do this and you should do that, and we don't do that, okay? We try to keep it as respectful and gentle a process. So Valerie makes her recommendations, and rather than the interior consultant presenting those recommendations to the client, I do it. I sit with the client, or we do a Zoom, or we do it on the phone, and we go over the recommendations. We pick the big ticket items, whatever the seller has the impetus to do, we do. Whatever they have the time to do, we do, etc. So it has to work. It's always bringing it back to the client. It's what do you need? And of course I can advise, and I can encourage, and I can recommend. And of course it's always wise to listen to the experts, but it has to always come back to the client. Getting the property ready for the market is very much, the seller has to be involved in that, not drive the process. I drive the process and they make the decisions. All right. But it's important to assess it. It has to be them that makes the decision to make any of those changes to their home.
Yeah. If they're not on board, then you're not in a good situation. And when you present them ideas and they get to select what they want to do, it makes it much easier for everybody involved.
We're empowering them to make good decisions.
I love that.
Yep. And I've learned, and that's the ninja way, or the ninja path is, I think you've heard me say this when I just stood up and blurted it out at the installation, that the ninja path is paved with respect for self and respect for others. And when I stopped dabbling in it and I really embraced it, Jaqueline, as a lifestyle. And it's a way of life. It's not something you do a few Zooms a couple of times a year, you do a couple of reports or whatnot. It's a lifestyle. And when I really started to embrace that, I had been dabbling, and it was around a year ago. My daughter said to me, she's just turned 7, so she was 6 at that stage, and she said, Mama, you said you weren't going to work on Monday, but you did, and I'm not even angry with you. And I burst into tears, and I thought something has to change, because I was an agent who was on a good trajectory. My GCI was increasing every year exponentially, on a really good trajectory, all of that, but I had absolutely no focus. I had no why. I was burned out. Work always came first. Clients came first. I was very, very misguided. So after that, I decided to dive into Ninja, and it has been instrumental in my success this past year, going from good agent to top agent.
The one thing that Ninja teaches us is that there is an us in this whole equation. I cannot help anybody else if I am not helping me, if I am not prioritizing myself, my family, and those around me. In Mexico, there's always this idea in Spanish that says, first me, then me, then me. And it just talks about how important it is for us to care for ourselves emotionally, mentally, and physically. Then we can give to others. Because pouring out of an empty cup is really not pouring.
Oh, yeah. No, it's not. And that's really that's the grounding for the ninja